From Wish TV and the All Indiana Podcast Network, this is the News 8 Daily 8 Podcast, a Wish TV News 8 update.
Hi, this is Hannah Mordeau, and this is your News 8 Daily for Thursday, February 5th. It's going to be another cold day with a lot of clouds and even maybe a little bit of snow. We're starting in the low 20s right now, and we're really not going to improve much. The high today is going to be about 26 degrees. This cold's going to stick around through the week and weekend. We really don't warm up until next week. Lafayette police say a sixth person is now under arrest in the shooting that wounded a Tippecanoe County judge and his wife. Officers did not say where they arrested 23-year-old Nevaeh Bell. She's charged with attempted murder and conspiracy to commit murder, but investigators have not explained her role in the shooting of Judge Steve Meyer and his wife Kim last month. The shooting happened days before another suspect was scheduled to have a trial with Judge Meyer. The FBI is blaming the many locations involved as part of the reason for the slow release of information in the death of a teenager from Fishers. The FBI issued a statement on 17-year-old Hailey Buzbee's case, saying in part, "We ask for continued patience as the investigators work to gather information, process evidence, and advance the case. The goal is to protect the integrity of the investigation and ensure a just outcome." 39-year-old Tyler Thomas faces 2 felony charges, but he has not been charged with killing Buzbee yet. Investigators say he told them he picked up Buzbee from her home last month and drove her to Ohio. His attorneys say Thomas also led police directly to her body. The town of Speedway says a boil water advisory will remain in place through at least tomorrow because of several water main breaks over the weekend. The city is now giving out bottled water, but News 8's Kat Sandoval found many people and businesses are frustrated.
It's a big inconvenience, but you do what you got to do to get through, you know.
The advisory comes after multiple water main breaks on Sunday due to extended extreme cold temperatures. Using
Bottled water for everything, so I've heard people are getting sick from drinking the water, and the ice, so I'm staying away from it.
At Speedway Municipal Center, residents pick up free water from 9 to 5. Bottles are available until the end of the week.
We're doing everything that we can to restore that service and lift that boil order. We just ask everyone's patience. This is out of an abundance of caution. We're trying to make sure no one does get affected negatively.
The town manager says time is needed to test the water so it meets the state's drinking water standards. In the meantime, city officials recommend boiling all tap water for at least a minute before drinking or cooking. But it's also costing restaurants who depend on water.
It's kind of the talk of the town, and whether restaurants have decided to stay open or not was kind of the big thing. So I know a couple restaurants decided to stay closed. We tried to be open and work with the health department to make sure that we were following the guidelines to make safe choices here.
At Bronzini Pizzeria, they're adjusting. They're stocking up on ice bags for drinks and are using bottled water jugs to prep food. Not to mention they go through 6 to 8 cases of bottled water for customers.
A couple of bartenders have mentioned, hey, I can't make my signature cocktails because we don't have soda water available. So there are some things that are just out of the norm for us here. But we've kind of dealt with it so far and just really hoping that gets lifted on Friday.
Officials say the reason why the boil water advisory has been extended this week is that the testing is a 2-step process. There is the initial water sample that gets sent to the lab, and then 24 hours later, after that, that's when they submit a second sample. I'm Kat Sandoval with Wish TV, wishtv.com.
Wish TV is your education station. Some parents in Indianapolis public schools are urging lawmakers to reject putting an appointed board to oversee all schools in the district. News 8's government reporter, Garrett Bergquist, explains the bill and why parents are upset.
This is the bill to create a mayor-appointed Indianapolis Public Education Corporation. IPS parents say the measure takes power away from the school board they elected. The bill would place both IPS and all charter schools within its boundaries under the control of a board appointed by the mayor. That board would control distribution of tax revenue as well as facilities and transportation plans. It would consist of 9 people, including 3 members of the IPS board. All members would have to live within the IPS boundaries.
At our schools, we use 20 buses from a local provider to safely transport our students every day. Even with our contracted fleet, our families still consistently struggle with getting their students to school.
The bill has changed. Charter authorizers and the elected IPS board would now retain the authority to close failing schools, though the corporation could appeal to the State Board of Education if they refuse. And charter schools can now opt out of any facilities management plan.
The bill creates an appointed board under the mayor with IPAC and strips core powers from our democratically elected school board, which is, by definition, taxation without representation.
The bill's author says he disagrees with that characterization.
I trust the mayor of Indianapolis, and the mayor of Indianapolis is working collaboratively with the commissioners of IPS and with the parents and charter school operators that operate inside the school city. Remember that a majority of the students do not attend IPS.
But Senate Democrats say the bill could change how schools are run in Indiana.
I think we're setting a precedent for the whole state of Indiana that the General Assembly, if they don't like your school district tomorrow, it will be Richmond, Indiana, it will be Evansville, it will be Fort Wayne, it will be a different community. We're going to create a municipal corporation, and we're going to get rid of or minimize, not get rid of, but minimize elected officials' representation on that school board.
The committee did not vote on the bill. We expect that will happen next week when the committee meets again. If it passes committee, it still would have to go through the full Senate. The bill already has passed the House. I'm Garrett Bergquist for Wish TV and WishTV.com.
Also at the State House, a committee is hearing more pleas from educators to ban students from using cell phones at any point during the school day. Right now, students cannot use phones during instructional time, but the new bill would expand the ban to lunch and passing periods. Fort Wayne Community Schools already has a total cell phone ban on the books. One of their school board members told the committee it's been really successful.
Data continues to show increasing academic performance with disruptions down from the previous year. Folks, it's working.
Committee members say they want to clean up some language on how students' cell phones should be stored before voting on that bill. Noblesville School says it is cutting staff in an effort to save millions in expenses. The district says it's looking at a multi-million-dollar deficit in its budget for this year. Some of the key reasons for that deficit are new state property tax legislation, a large decline in enrollment funding, and a district referendum that expires at the end of the year. Noblesville says the cuts will be made in an effort to minimize any impacts on students. Superintendent for Plainfield Community School Corporation says there will be disciplinary action if students participate in a walkout protest planned for Friday. Students across the state have been protesting federal immigration and customs enforcement this week. In a notice shared with News 8, the superintendent says though the schools value passion students have for current events and their desire to engage, the corporation's primary responsibility is to ensure a safe, predictable, and uninterrupted learning environment. The walkout, according to advisory group Hoosier Rise, was set for 10:45 tomorrow morning at Plainfield High School. Hamilton Southeastern High School students also planned a walkout for tomorrow. Their day of action was postponed Monday after Hailey Buzbee's death. Online court records show an 18-year-old plans to plead guilty to causing the crash that killed former Hamilton Southeastern football star Mason Alexander. Records show the judge in Trey Williams' case has set a change of plea hearing for March 11th. Williams' trial of reckless homicide charges had been set for next week. Alexander was a passenger in Williams' car when it went off the road on Florida Road near 113th Street in Fishers and hit a tree in March of last year. Prosecutors say Williams was making an illegal pass of another car at the time of the crash. Today's show host, Savannah Guthrie, is asking her mother's kidnapper to let her know that she is alive. Guthrie's plea comes from a new video she posted last night. Reed Binion has that video and more on the investigation.
Is looking for you, Mommy, everywhere. Your children will not rest until we are together again.
Today's show anchor Savannah Guthrie, flanked by her siblings, pleading for her mother's return in a wrenching video posted to Instagram Wednesday.
Mama, if you're listening, we need you to come home.
Days after 84-year-old Nancy Guthrie's apparent abduction from her Tucson area home, there was an increased law enforcement presence outside the residence Wednesday. The Pima County Sheriff's Office said detectives were doing a follow-up at the property and in the neighborhood. Crime scene tape went up and law enforcement carried evidence bags into the house and appeared to bring some back out into a vehicle. In her video plea, Savannah Guthrie also addressed reports of ransom notes in the case.
We too have heard the reports about a ransom letter. We are ready to talk. However, we live in a world where voices and images are easily manipulated.
At least 3 different media outlets, including 2 TV stations in Tucson, say they received ransom notes this week demanding millions of dollars in Bitcoin for Nancy Guthrie's safe return. The outlets said the notes described specific evidence in the home where authorities say she was last seen. The sheriff declined to confirm whether those claims match the crime scene, and investigators haven't confirmed whether the notes are legitimate.
We need to know, without a doubt, that she is alive and that you have her.
I'm Reed Binion for Wish TV and WishTV.com.
The man convicted of trying to assassinate President Donald Trump has been sentenced to life in prison. A judge sentenced Ryan Ruth on Wednesday. Prosecutors say Ruth laid in wait for Trump at his West Palm Beach golf course back in 2024 while he was a candidate for president in an attempt to kill the president. Super Bowl 60 is just 3 days away in Santa Clara, California. Sports director Anthony Calhoun is in the Bay Area and is giving us an all-access look ahead of the big game. He tells us why the Colts have also been a topic of conversation this week.
You know, it was at one point this season that a lot of folks were talking about the Colts actually being here in San Francisco playing in the Super Bowl, but we all know how that story ended. Daniel Jones, the Colts quarterback, injured for the season, and the team just couldn't find ways to close the deal to win games. But a lot of the positive talk about the Colts this season had to do with their quarterback in Daniel Jones. He is a free agent during this offseason, but the Colts have made it very clear they want to try to work out a long-term deal to keep Jones in Indy. And by the way, they're not the only one thinking that. Daniel Jones had some incredible moments for the Colts this past season before it ended for him with a season-ending injury. And all the chatter on Radio Row here in San Francisco, Indy must find a way to make sure the free agent Jones does not leave town.
It's huge. It was people, I think they're quick to forget, the Indianapolis Colts were the #1 story in the NFL through 2 months. The #1 story. And then it even got weirder and weirder and weirder, and they went down the rabbit hole. But I have a lot of respect for the Colts, and if they want a future with Daniel Jones, I could respect that as well.
I mean, if Sam Darnold isn't the perfect example of what Daniel Jones is and can be, I don't know what else is. I mean, it's a great example of a guy that, you take a step back to go to another team. In Sam Darnold's situation, it was San Fran, and then had the success in Minnesota. I think Daniel Jones, he went to Minnesota, took a step back, took 2 steps forward in Indy. I mean, that's a no-brainer to me.
Of course, we got much more coming your way live from San Francisco. Coming up tomorrow on our 30-minute special, All Access Indy San Francisco. Great stories, great interviews. Former Colts head coach Tony Dungy, he's going to actually join us on the show to break down the matchup and getting you ready for Super Bowl 60. All that and much more is all coming up tomorrow, 6:30, right here on Wish TV. Now, coming up later today, more live coverage from the Bay Area. Will it be a big night for former Colts players Reggie Wayne and Adam Vinatieri? They're both finalists for the Pro Football Hall of Fame. We will be there tonight for the announcement. We'll find out if Reggie's going to get his gold jacket, or will they both get their gold jacket in, Reggie Wayne and Adam Vinatieri. All the latest on that and much more is all coming up tonight right here live from San Francisco here on Wish TV. Anthony Calhoun, Wish TV and WishTV.com.
Pizza Hut is closing hundreds of locations across the U.S. while its parent company is working on a strategic review of the embattled brand. Yum Brands, which also owns Taco Bell and KFC, revealed in Wednesday's earnings call that 250 underperforming Pizza Huts are closing in the first half of this year, which amounts to roughly 3% of its U.S. footprint. A specific list of locations, though, has not been released, so it's not clear how many Pizza Huts will be impacted here in Indiana. This has been your News 8 Daily from Wish TV. I'm Hannah Mordeau. Watch us on Wish TV and WishTV.com.
This is the News 8 Daily 8 podcast, a Wish TV News 8 update on demand. For even more, on demand and on the go. Connect with Wish TV on Facebook at WishTV.com and on the free Wish TV mobile app. Thank you for listening. And be sure to like, subscribe, and follow this podcast for updates every weekday morning on the All Indiana Podcast Network and wherever you get your podcast.